Good day everybody, and welcome back once again to Tony's Top Tips Workshop. It's just a follow-up video really, and it's, as the title said, does the Bambu Labs really do what it says on the tin? And I've had one or two questions posed me, how do I like it, and do I, appreciate that what that printer actually can do. And to answer that, yes I do. The Bambu Labs does exactly what it says on the tin. There's no mistake about it. Out of all the 3D printers that I have, the first one I ever purchased was the Zortrax M200 a few years ago, and then I paid round about £1,400 for it, which was very expensive in the day, but it was at the, when I purchased it, it was at top of its game, and it still to this day performs incredibly well. It's accurate, the tolerances are so good that very rarely do I know the tolerances now, and if you print something at 20mm diameter, then it's going to be more or less on that. It's an incredibly good printer. The printer that I purchased after that was the X-Max. Now the X-Max, at the time, it was a new generation of printer, how it came out, and it's QD Tech, and it's been a good printer. It has had its issues, however, and the one that I fixed the other week on a video was the bed moving about, which should never have come out of the factory like that, but I've had that a few years. When it first came out, and along with it I purchased the Anycubic mono resin printer and wash and cure station, and that must be 5 years ago, thereabouts. Lost track, it's quite a while. And that is sat over behind the X-Max, and it's out of its packaging, but neither have never been used. Never used it. I've got the resin, never used it. Just solely stuck to FDM printing. Purchased that, had some incredibly good prints off the X-Max, which for the printer they were quite good. And then I kept watching videos on a printer. You don't see so much on it now, and that was the Robox, and I sell Robox, CEL Robox, whichever you want to call it, and I thought it seems a pretty good printer. Now I happened to fall lucky because on eBay a company was doing an auction, and they were actually selling or auctioning the CEL Robox, and it was the double filament extruder printer, which was the more expensive one. There were quite a lot of money really, and it's only a small printer, only a small format for the print area, and I purchased one. I won it on the couldn't believe it, they were brand new, and I thought I was being scammed at the time, but I won it for about £300 it was. I couldn't believe it when it appeared, and I thought this is really too good to be true, and I thought, yeah, well, I unboxed it, set it up, run the print, and it gave exceptionally good quality prints, and it had auto bed leveling, really good, small format. And I thought, yeah, so I was watching another one, and same printer, and would you believe it, I won that at even less money, £250 I won that at, since I passed that on as a new product because I opened the box to make sure it was all okay, and I passed that on because I had no call for tools. So I had the row box, CEL row box, and I thought, right, what else? So around about the same time I purchased the the actual Anycubic, and it was the Formax Pro, fully enclosed one, and it's been a good printer. I did have a screen issue on it. The screen cracked. I don't know why it cracked, but it cracked, and tried to get Anycubics and the videos that I did on it. The actual after sales service was absolutely terrible. No, I couldn't get I kept asking for a screen. No one wanted to know. It was really disgusting, really, how I was treated. So I purchased a screen myself. I did a video on it, and I got a screen that matched one Anycubics. It was a screen from, I think it was AliExpress, purchased from reasonably cheap, and I showed how to swap the sensitive touch panel to the screen and to swap them over, and that's calibrated. I stripped it down, did the screen, and that runs really well. I get some good prints off that. That's an enclosed one. And then I purchased the Anycubic Mega Pro, and it came with a 1.5 watt output, that is laser diode, and I thought, I got that really cheap. I did well with it, about a couple of £100, and they're selling for a lot more than that. Anyway, I got that as a bit of a project, just to see what, before I'd bought any of the diode lasers that I have, and I thought I'll actually see what this is like, and it had issues with the Z rods. There was too much play, and I just didn't like how they were secured. They weren't anti-backlash at all on the Z rods. They were just the actual top part of a anti-backlash, the threaded part, and that was it. And there was too much play, so I decided on to sort that out, and I put anti-backlash on. I did a video on that, and I can get some really good prints off that. I use it mostly for PLA, because I print in a lot of ABS and hips. I have done PETG and that, but predominantly what I print in. And excuse me. So I sorted that printer out. That was done. Obviously I acquired the laser diodes, laser engravers. I've had a CO2 laser K40 for a long time, and that's been absolutely superb. That's over in the corner there. But I thought it was time to invest in a little bit of something up-to-date technology, because the printers that I have are relatively old printers, old technology really, and I can work them. I know how to correct the software in Cura or Z Suite, and how to do all that, so to get the best prints. But unfortunately, if you're prototyping, what happens is, like majority of the time I'd prototype, unless it's a big print, and I use the X Max, I use the Zortrax, and the Zortrax is not quick at what it does, but it's good at what it does, especially for prototyping. But you have to wait, and then you find out at the end of it, I didn't want it like that, so you have to spend another 4, 5, 6, 10 hours prototyping again until you get it right, and it's just, so I thought I'll invest in something that'll and everybody's were, when they came out, hyped up about the Bambu Labs X1 carbon, and I thought it's time to get something that I can prototype quickly, and that's initially what I've purchased the machine for. As you can see, I've printed quite a lot of stuff off, and I've only had it just basically over a week, or maybe a fortnight at the most. This as the as the title of the video said, this does exactly what it says on the tin. I don't alter anything in the software. The only thing that I tend to do is, if you download any prints, it's just make sure that when you import it and open it up in Bambu Studio, that you've actually set on the correct printer, because some aren't. Some are come through and set up on the P1, and there's one gentleman on YouTube didn't initially see that, and what happened was he bent the print head, he bent the actual printer nozzle. It hit the side, came over to the front and hit. So be aware of that. If you download anything, make sure you're on your printer. So I do every time. I've done what everybody tends to do, all the updates, you know, for the silica gel, for the moisture, for the AMS, the little holders, scrapers, pulp bucket. Now, the only problem I've had on this printer is when I come to print, the pulp bucket, as everybody calls it, is in my workshop here. It's relatively cool, and if I'm printing PLA upstairs, it doesn't matter on the Anycubic because it's an open printer. But any of the others, I leave the door open, just to, obviously I don't want that heat in the chamber, and they tend to print better. However, with the Bambu Labs, I found with the big print using all the bed space, and the pulp bucket's relatively thin base. The first one I did, I had layer separation and curling just like you'd get with ABS, and I looked at it and I thought, oh, it's a problem, and I printed it as it came through when I opened the file up, because it's one I downloaded, and it used their settings, and I looked and I thought, no. So what I'm going to do is I knocked all the fans off inside, because it's cool, relatively cool down here, and it was a cool day when I printed it, and I closed the door, and once I'd done that, I printed again. I got a first rate print off it, the pulp bucket, and it's down at the side now, it's working. So that's the only failed print I've had, and that was due to my own fault, not spotting that. When I actually print anything now, it's got 2 coils of PLA in. I actually keep the door closed down here because it's cool enough to do that, and the auxiliary fans are off. There's no fans on in there, and it prints absolutely amazing quality. It just, everything about it, you know, that's like injection molded. It's, you know, everything I've done, you know, the moisture meters for inside the AMS, look at that. It's incredibly well detailed, smooth, you know. But I'm not I don't think, unless you start to have issues with the print, I don't think you need to go, and I certainly don't. I'm certainly not going to go venture away from anything but these basic settings until I need to alter something, and then from the other printers I know what to alter. But I'm just running it with the filaments in on the basic settings, and it actually does what it says. I don't get failed prints, and the beauty about this printer is I switch it on now. I can switch it on, and I can go upstairs into my computer room and design something, log on to the printer, send it down, and it prints it, and it tells me when it's finished, and I can monitor it. I've never had that with any of my printers. I've had to keep checking on them. Is it finished yet? And regards the prints, some of the prints that I've done on it, on my Zortrax will be 8 hours, X Max 5 hours, 5 and a bit hours. That hour 5 minutes. So for prototyping, it's absolutely incredibly good at it. I've printed the silica gel, the moisture holders for the silica gel in the actual AMS, and as you can see, I've got 2 gauges, and I believe this is how good that AMS is being sealed. And I don't know if you can see that. That reading in there is 67% in here, outside. I keep one outside so I know if there's a difference inside. 67% moisture in here because the door's open. Okay, so that's quite high moisture content. The one in the AMS reads 20%. That's how good the AMS is at keeping things sealed. I think in hindsight that AMS could have been made far better. You can use the Bambu Labs as a filament dryer. You set it up, put your film in it and leave it running, and it heats the bed up, and the chamber becomes your drying station, so to speak. I think they could have done far better than that by actually powering that AMS at the top with a heated mat inside. I have as you're aware, I have a marine tank upstairs in the lounge, and I breed my own live food for the tank. I do my brine shrimp and I breed them in there, and I use to heat the tank up that I breed them with what they use to put under tortoises and for lizards and snakes and that. Just a simple thin heat mat, that's all it is, and a dial for altering the temperature. If that had had something like that in there, you could have left your and it would have, they could have put it into the actual case. They're quite safe, and it's mains powered. Don't go through a power pack, does these mats. Insert it in there, and I've been looking at some way of doing that, but to actually keep it in there, put some heat in, and what have you got? You've got a drying box, its own drying box, so you're not relying on heating your filament inside your chamber of your Bambu Labs. You're doing it in your AMS. It becomes a 4-rolled heated chamber dry box, and I can't understand why they've never thought of that. For the extra cost, I'd pay the extra cost, because you're not getting a separate filament dryer, are you? You could literally just sit that on top of there. Right, I want to use the X-Max, I want to dry some filament off. Just pop your filament in, switch your dry box on, turn the temperature up and leave it. I can't understand why they've not thought of that. It's just something that would have been easy to have accomplished on the manufacturer. But the prints I've got off it are so incredibly good, and when I compare them, there's only all the printers they have, the only one that will give the finish really to match that, and that is the Zortrax. It's incredibly good, is the Zortrax, but it's just slow, that's it. And for its time, when it was produced, it was good, but now it's not. But I still use it. I don't just shelve everything. I go around and use, I'm printing something today, I'll try it on the 4Max, no, I'll try it on any Cubic. Yeah, you work within what you've got, and so I keep everything running, same as a CO2 laser, same as the diode lasers. But yeah, the printer is good. I've lubricated, when it came, I lubricated the actual Z-rod, the bed rods. So there's 3 of them, so I did that. They're lubricated. But what I want to ask out there is, I can't find any documentation about it and why it does it, but if anybody can help me on that, please let me know in the comments below. But take this printed bed out. Now this, what I advise everybody, this is a cold plate because I'm printing PLA on it, is every 3 or 4 prints I wash it, take it in to my shop kitchen in there, and I wash it down, a bit of warm water, dry it, thoroughly dry it, and it takes all the marks off. The only marks on there are the scraper marks, that's it. And the reason why, and when you look at its logic really, is I printed without putting any adhesive on because I don't use it in any other machines. I didn't put the glue on that's supplied with the machine, so I did the scraper print, the big scraper print where you put the blade on, and it was very difficult to get off this bed. But I got it off, and I thought, the glue is the barrier, and it works. There's no mistake, it works. And every so often, as I say, I just wash it. But that's how it goes into the printer, like that. But what I can't understand is, through its setup process before it actually comes to the print and it's doing its calibrations and that, the nozzle comes to rest on this bit here. I don't know whether you can see that. You can see it there. There's a little bit where the hot nozzle touches. Don't know why it does that. It sits there for a few seconds and then it moves on. If anybody can explain why it does that and if it should do that, then I'd be much appreciated, because I've tried to find documentation on it and I can't find it, so I don't know on that one. And the other thing that people do complain about is when you're putting this back in, there are some slightly raised pieces of plastic on the bed at either corner, but when you put that back in, sometimes you have to do it a couple of times to get it lined back up. If I put that back in there now, it wants to clip it down, and that's over one side now. So you've got to lift it back up, and then that's it. It doesn't always line up every time, but no, as I say, it's only a short video really. To update, I've been asked about how am I getting on with it and that, and I highly recommend it. In fact, I'm looking at acquiring the actual A1, the not the mini, the next one up with the 2Z rods. I'm looking at purchasing that when it's, because they recalled them all because of faults on the bed, and that's one good thing about them. It's they didn't hesitate, they recalled them all, and the new ones won't be out, well, I think it's mid-May, somewhere like that. I've got no notification, and I'm going to purchase that with the AMS just to see what sort of a printer is, and I'm going to do some tests with that in PLA and with me Mega Pro, and just see the difference and just show the quality, and I believe, and it works the same, Bambu Studio. I can monitor the prints, it's got a camera on it, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, it's one of those printers where you wish you'd have acquired it 2 years ago, but the technology wasn't there then. And I think there's a lot of printer companies out there that are actually copying, well, not copying, but going along the same mechanical lines and software and that as the Bambu Labs. They have it right. The only modification I've done to the printer is I've taken the standard feet off, because although it's sat on a cast iron CNC machine there, it still has a bit of vibration on the standard feet. So I purchased from Bambu when I got the printer the actual, like, they look like concertina feet, rubber feet, and you just take the old ones out, which have got a little bit of adhesive on, and then you just pop these back in and just make sure you press them right in, and they just go in. The only thing and they're good. I mean, you can see your printer moving, but the machine's moving. Instead of vibrating it all through everything, you can see the printer when it's moving quick. It's actually really stable, and I put those on. The only the problem with them is once you put the feet on, you must pick it's difficult to put. Well, it's not difficult. You've got to lift one side up and then lift one side up until you get them in. But if you're thinking of moving the printer about, you can't just slide it. That's a no-no, because you'll push one of the legs over, the cushion feet, because they're quite soft. So what you have to do is pick the printer up and place it where you want, and make sure the legs go down flat, because if you don't, you'll have them lopsided. That's the only downfall with them, really. But barring that, they work. I ordered some extra parts as well. I've just ordered a lot more of the filament from Bambu Labs. Just ordered another 8 rolls, because it's on offer and you can get a refill. I mean, I've used the original green that I got with it, the PLA basic, and it's up there as the real, because you can buy an actual, because it automatically registers, because it's got something in the it's got like a little chip inside the filament, and it registers on the AMS to what filament and what colour it is that's in. So I saved the reel, and that's what everybody needs to do, is save that reel, because you buy a refill and just comes wrapped. If you put it on, lock it, because they don't lock apart with the original spools. So that's sat up there, and I've ordered some more, and you can get a refill for about $15.99, which is pretty good, really, and it's good filament. So I'm just running Bambu Labs through it at the moment. But that's conclusion of my video. Bit of a strange one, really, but and it's just to keep the people. I've run a couple on Facebook messaged me and asked me how am I coping with it, do I like it, and I think one of them's been waiting for me to. I speak a lot to him, and been waiting for me to let him know that it's well worth what you pay. This came through Technology Outlet, and they're good. I've had stuff off them before, and they come reasonably quick. There's no messing around. Their after sale service is good as well when you have to use it. But this is well worth what you pay for it. I think you can get them down to about $13.19, I believe it is now, with the AMS. You don't get much filament. You get 250 grams of filament, but it's enough to. You get 3 coils. I got 3 coils, different ones at a time, and one of them is actually the dissolvable support material, which I haven't used. I have a lot more to do on it, and I've just done the in one of my videos, and if anybody's interested, check it out. It's on the CNC from CNC, and it's the offline controller holder. It's I did it on that, worked first time in really short time, really. I was amazed, and it was quite intricate. Put it together and it fit, and it's on there. And I've had people wanting the STL file, and I'm out for making money on STL files. If you want to do that, I've put it onto for download for the X1 Carbon. So anybody there, it's there. Make a World, I think it is. When you go into Bambu Studio, it comes on. So if you log on there for it, it's there. Anybody's welcome, and I hope you use it. So that's the conclusion of my video. So as I can always say to you, please just let me know in the comments whether you've enjoyed my video, and please, anybody that knows why the nozzle goes and sits on the back part of the removable plate, I'd just like to know. It's just one of them curiosities. So if that's what it does, that's what it does. It doesn't seem to be any detrimental to the operation of the machine, but it just seems unusual why it does it. So until next time, like and subscribe. I'll answer your comments, and you be safe, be careful, and bye for now.